pleasure for me, Peter Churchill, to welcome you to our program this week from Monterrey in Mexico for the third leg of this season's Pulsar Crown Series, worth impossible bonuses, and I'll say it slowly for you because there it is, $2 million US. 1 win in 3, 25,000. 2 wins in 3, 800,000, and 3 straight wins and the magic bonus of $2 million US. Well, now, it's been going for 3 years now, the Pulsar Crown Series, so what about its influence on this sport in general? Let's talk to the American pro, Peter Leone.
Well, thanks to the Pulsar Crown, the series that it's created, it's really giving the sport a huge boost. It's setting the new standard for show jumping in the world. Here in Monterrey is the finale of the calendar year. The conditions are the best in the world, which means the jumping is the best in the world. And no doubt Mr. Romo has seen that the best riders are here, so we're really in for a treat. I think that the Pulsar Triple Crown Series is getting people to think and is about to help create bigger and better series in the years to come, setting the stage for next century.
Now, Peter Leone there. We'll be meeting Alfonso Romo, by the way, later in the program, the driving force behind this. But let's now go and meet our course designer from the USA, Linda Allen. With me now, Linda Allen, the course designer from America. We've met you here before, of course, in Monterrey. But since then, Linda, you've been a huge success at the Olympic Games in Atlanta. But here, this Pulsar Crown and a lot of money, is it just as much pressure?
At least as much pressure, yes. It's such a beautiful facility, and there's everything here for the best competition. So I want to make sure that I do my best to have a course that lives up to it.
I think this really is the point, Linda, isn't it? You're the orchestrator in a way. You set the design, and they have to play on that.
Exactly. It makes the sport very interesting to me, but I feel a lot of pressure because the horses are jumping, they have a strong circuit, and we have such important competitions like this. But so I really want to get the right result and still taking that most consideration for the horses.
Linda Allen, who did there is Alfonso Romo that we're meeting later on. Linda Allen, who did a brilliant job at the Olympic Games last summer. So this was the situation. Britain, John Whittaker won in Aachen in Germany. Bonus 25,000 US. Finished 7th in Valkenswaard. In Monterrey, then he was on a possible 800,000. The same for the Dutch rider, Jan Tops, who won in Valkenswaard. Well, we're going to pick it up in the first round. 14 fences, 17 jumping efforts. Time allowed 95 seconds. We're going to join John Whittaker first with the wonderful 18-year-old Hanoverian-bred Virtual Village Granouche. Say the winners in Aachen, a Grand Prix there, and this is the last of his 3-show cycle, as you can see. And John and Granouche actually won the very first Pulsar Crown Grand Prix here in Monterrey in '95. He had a great tournament this time, winning the Aero Mexico Cup and the Seguros Comercial Challenge with this very bright new talent, the Belgian-bred Heyman. But this was for 800,000 US dollars. What's that? Over 400,000 pounds. Now, in the first round, their time counted to qualify for the second round, the top 15. And let's just see what happens. Linda Allen set them a very big course. Most of these fences, in fact, came from the Summer Olympic Games in Atlanta last year. You see the look of concentration on John's face there. He's been in this position before. Huge crowd at the Club Hípica La Silla. Now John Whittaker on the run for home with 18 years young Granouche. And there, one rail on the floor goes 800,000 US dollars because John's time in that first round was 88.80 seconds. So he was among the slower of the 4 falters. And you can just see there John was asking the old horse for just that bit more. But that was a shade, wasn't it? So now Jan Tops, who's in more or less the same position, although he's on the second of his 3-show cycle. He won in Valkenswaard, a facility that he created along with his great friend and partner Alfonso Romo, and there goes another $800,000 on the ground with just one rail. It's a tough old game, isn't it? But Jan still has one more to go in his three-show cycle, and that will be in his hometown and in his own backyard in Valkenswaard. Valkenswaard will be the first one next year of the Pulsar Crown Series. This year it was Aachen in Germany. It'll go Valkenswaard, Aachen, and then we'll be back here in Monterrey. Operet La Silla, 13-year-old Holsteiner bred. Jan, in fact, has won twice in Valkenswaard, which he created. Wonderful facility. I remember it if you watched our program from there, created with Alfonso Romo and Jan, who rides for the La Silla stable. He runs their European arm. That vertical there at 1.55 m. It's at 5'4", 5'5". This at 1.50 m. 5 strides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the last. But again, Jan tops at a 4.40 in 88.63. So therefore did not qualify for the second round. So, but Jan still has another crack, as it were, in Valkenswaard next year. There you can see the 3 participating tournaments. Let's say the time in the first round was the order of merit that was decided by the rankings to go into that top 15, 1/3 of the starters, that is, like any other classical Grand Prix. And it's 2 rounds, so it's on equal scores going forward to a jump-off. So this is in the order of merit. In other words, Ludger Beerbaum for Germany will be the first to go with that 4.40 in 87.07. And then we move on down the line, and you'll see then that we have the dynamic Hugo Simon will be the last to go. He was the winner here last year. Hugo Simon for Austria with the wonderful Hanoverian ETFRH. We'll be back with all that for you the second round after this short break. So do come back and join us in a few moments' time. Welcome back to the Club Pipico La Silla in Monterrey. We're in northeast Monterrey in the valley of the LDNT Mountains for the second round now of the third of this season's Pulsar Crown Series. And this is worth $450,000 in total. What's that, nearly £300,000? $140,000 US to the winner, and $100,000 US to the third. But as John Whittaker and Jan Tops are out now, the bonus for the Pulsar Crown Series will be $25,000 US. Well, we're in the top 15, going in order of merit. There's our second round. 10 fences, 13 efforts. Time allowed 72 seconds. Go over that time allowed, and they pick up a quarter of a time for every second commits. We kick it off with Germany's national champion, Ludger Beerbaum, 34 years old, with a 15-year-old Westphalian bred by Pilot P.S. Priamos. And Ludger, now the European champion of show jumping. Second with Ratina Z in the Aachen Grand Prix. And once again, Linda Allen, our American course designer, has gone up this time to the maximum of 1.55 m in height. Ludger is carrying forward 4 faults from his first trip, as you know. Just added another 4 to it, and added another 1 to it. The treble combination and a related distance then to an oxer over on the far side there. That's a parallel spread fence. And Ludger finished third in the Valkenswaard Pulsar Grand Prix with P.S. Priamos in that 3-horse jump off won by Jan Tops, with Leslie McNaught finishing second on Dulf for Switzerland. But this time for Ludger, that's 12 faults to add to his 4, giving him 16 in all. And there we are, there's confirmation of his total. But he actually went home. He won the top score, a lot of good placings. He went home with over $44,000. Alexandre Liederman for France with Rocher M. This 14-year-old French bred by Gelasco B. 4 faults on her first trip. Olympic Games individual bronze medalist last summer. Well placed here in Monterrey several times. In fact, finished second in this Pulsar Grand Prix. Family run a stud in Normandy. 4 faults on her first trip. That's the double. One quick stride inside it. It was a fence fall, by the way. Not quite two natural strides there to that second and third element. But plenty of time to study that distance, and we see at another angle you'll see from that treble combination at fence 6 rather, 2-7. They're coming right in front of the stands now. 1.55 that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got enough to get then to that final fence, which is 1.55 box parallel. But Alexandre Liederman, I can tell you, as you can see now, went just over that time allowed of 72 seconds, wasn't it? To pick up a quarter of a time fault there, so she finishes on 4.25. 31-year-old Antonio Chedroui with the 11-year-old Belgian-bred Elastique. Antonio from Veracruz, he won the Pulsar Grand Prix in '94. That was before the Pulsar Crown Series started, carrying forward 4 faults from his first trip. And he finished, he actually finished 8th in the Monterrey World Cup qualifier in April, but he's going to drop down the leaderboard here. Antonio, who's been touring Europe this summer. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he made 4 long ones for it, but was just that bit off it. Now, this is in fact going to move Alexandre Liederman up that leaderboard, because she's finished on a 4.25, as we saw. The home run. That's, I said 1.55, that's about, what, 5'2". And that's about 5'2", 5'3", with a spread of nearly 6 foot. So for Antonio Chedroui, there's 12 faults to add to his 4, giving him 16. And say that moved Alexandre Liederman up 1 place at this stage to 13th. They took a bit of a dive at that one, didn't they? But look at the conditions in this Club Hippica Lacia. The ground is always perfect. And a huge crowd. The crowd, there we are. The crowd gets bigger and bigger every year. Luciana Diniz, 26 years old, from Brazil. She runs her own yard in Hamburg in Germany, comes to Sao Paulo with the 9-year-old Hanoverian Ralph the 5th. And she had a 4-faulter on her first trip. Finished 4th the Mannheim Grand Prix. Eighth in the Hamburg Grand Prix. Her mother's a well-known dressage rider. But this again is helping Liederman to move up that leaderboard. Luciana's fellow countryman Rodrigo Pessoa had a good tournament in Monterrey. Won the Sky Welcome Stakes with the French-bred Bianca Damory. Long one, and then those two just a little bit on the tight side, and you see the way Luciana drove on. And got a lovely stride, in fact, at fence 7. And as Linda Allen was saying, it is very much this playing music on somebody else's composition. So just the one down then for Luciana Diniz and Ralph. That puts them then from their 4th in the first round on 8. So up comes Liederman now to 12th place for France. And there's my young fan watching on. There you can see the tremendous crowds. We're not all that far outside of the city of Monterrey, in actual fact. Something like about a 20-minute drive. And Kaczynski we've seen many times on our program, and she's competed here in Monterrey as well, I think, since it started. And with Eros, 10-year-old Australian bred, Comes from California, but based in Flemington, New Jersey. It's fourth in the Rome Grand Prix, fifth in St. Gallen. We saw her in the very successful USA Nations Cup side touring Europe this summer. That's her top pro trainer. And then an absolute immaculate horsewoman. Who watches? She just seems to, without very little interference in her horses, just seems to get them in the right place at the right time and ping. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and she squeaked in. In fact, she let him use his natural short stride down there to get that one right. Now, only 2 more to go for Ann Kaczynski and the 10-year-old Aussie bred. Yeros, the last to go, and Ann taking it very carefully, then driving for it beautifully off the ground, and that was well within the time allowed of 72 seconds. So that means Ann Kaczynski, as you can see there, finishes on a final total of 4. So Hap Hansen now from California, riding the 10-year-old Bavarian bred mare America. 4 faults on his first trip, and Hap, one of the most consistent riders in the world. We see him on all sorts of different horses every season. In fact, he's made it to 10 Volvo World Cup finals and finished 6th twice. How's that for consistency? So Ann Kaczynski on the 4, Liederman on the 4.25. Oh, you could see the horse just pausing there before the footfall. That was Linda's toughest line down there, I think. Then, she's dealing with the absolute best, as Peter Leon was saying earlier on, and for a very heavy prize, or winner's purse as well as a prize purse. So Hap Hansen coming back with the 2 down, added to his 4 gives him the 12. So Ann Kaczynski now moves up to 10th. Liederman's moved up to 11th. So it's 15 in this second round, and any on equal scores, that means it'll have to be double clear rounds because that time factor from the first round. Nona Garson for the USA, the 9th to go of the 15th with this 12-year-old Russian-bred Rhythmical. Lebanon, New Jersey, 4 faults on her first trip. 3rd in the Wellington World Cup qualifier, 5th in the Tampa World Cup qualifier. Well, that's helping Kaczynski and Liederman now. They're climbing gradually and persistently up the leaderboard. This is a little horse, I remember me telling you some time ago, that actually changed hands out of Russia to Finland for 150 second-hand washing machines. I don't think that'll happen again. Oh, he really reached for that one. That was trying. And she got in the little extra one there, asked him, in fact, to go a bit deeper. Hence the little slap there just behind the saddle. This is going to drop Nona Garson, who's a professional coach, down that leaderboard. There's good prize money going all the way down the line, but that gives a total of 16. So Ann Kaczynski's now up to 9th, Liederman up to 10th. There's our leaderboard. But we still got to say we're just about halfway off that top 15 in the second round. Well, now, many of you have written to me about horses traveling from Europe to Monterrey and distances, you know, what's it like? Let's go and ask the Irish international John Lennon that question.
I've noticed, because we go to Calgary as well, and that's a similar trip, that on the way over it doesn't affect them, and on the way back they seem to be very tired. Maybe it's that the competition is so stressful on them. I mean, here you're in against the best, top in the world. Every day it's a big effort. So it's like anybody who's competed for a week. They're tired, and then they get back on the plane and fly back again. And when they get back to Ireland, they say, okay, give me a few days off, please.
So not much different than us, John.
Exactly the same as us.
Captain John Lettingham there. Well, now it's time to go to the break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Firestone. Now, before we see her go, we're going to go and join her father, Bert Firestone, very successful racehorse owner and breeder, and to find out from him what it's like now as papa watching his daughter show jumping and not jockeys riding his top racehorses.
I know Alison has worked really hard at what she does, and I know you can get hurt walking across the street, but she works really hard, and she takes the chances. I naturally hope she does best, but I don't really worry that much.
Bert Firestone, in fact, had a winner of the Irish and English Oaks and an Irish 2,000 guineas winner and a Kentucky Derby winner. But this is 22-year-old daughter Alison Firestone with the 14-year-old Hanoverian Gustave Bay, the top horse and rider on points in last summer's Samsung Nations Cup Series. Comes from Upperville, Virginia. We're in the second round, by the way. This is the 8th to go of the top 15 in this third of this season's Pulsar Crown Series. Our leaderboard at the moment, let me remind you, Anne Kaczynski of the USA on 4 faults after 2 rounds. Alexandra Liederman after 2 rounds on 4.25 for France. Alison Firestone carrying forward a 4 faulter. This horse is, we've seen him this summer, say in the Nations Cup, absolutely brilliant. Alison, an absolute discovery. But didn't she keep her nerve there and hold it well? Going to the last now, say the top discovery of the season, and that's a clear round. Only the second one we've seen so far on this second trip, therefore on 4 faults, and as she had a faster time in her first round, then she goes to the top of the leaderboard. Antonia Morey with San Martin, this 11-year-old Argentinian-bred thoroughbred. Won the World Cup qualifier here in April and won the Visa Prix, riding Proetas Matero, beating, would you believe, Ludger Beerbaum and Hap Hansen. Best Mexican in the prize money list. Going forward a 4, she seemed just dropped the rail. Best Mexican rider on the final prize money list, taking out some 30,000 US dollars. Oof, the horse really exploded for that one and meant business, didn't he? And now that means Alison Firestone has moved up, by the way, as has Anne Kaczynski, as has Alexandra Liederman. So they're running now 7th, 8th and 9th. And Antonio Morey coming to the final line. A 3 down on that second trip, so that 12 faults added to his 4. And up comes then, aren't we brilliant at arithmetic, up comes our official score then of 16 faults. This is at the double. Ooh, let it go in very, very deep. Came out of it beautifully. So, I think with more experience at this level. There's Alison Firestone up to 7th and Kaczynski up to 8th. And when that horse gets more experience at the top Grand Prix level, he becomes to Europe next summer, we might see another different story altogether. McLean Ward now, 22 years old, from the USA with this 12-year-old French-bred Twist du Vallon by Narcus II, formerly ridden by the French international Hervé Godignon. 4 faults on his first trip. McLean from Brewster, New York State. Won the Upperville Grand Prix recently on another horse called Lost, and we saw him many, many times this summer riding for the American Nations Cup team. And again, 4 faults from his first trip. And in 6th place on the leaderboard going into this second round. $450,000. At about 240,000 pounds on the table in total. It's up to 70,000 pounds going to the winner, not including that first show cycle at 25,000 US dollars bonus for the Pulsar Crown Series. And McLean Ward and Twist du Vallon looking good. Nicely home, inside the time allowed, I can tell you. So that for Falter, and again, because they were quicker, going in order of merit, don't forget they were quicker on their first trip than McLean Ward now gets to the top of the leaderboard. And that means then, yes, Alison Firestone is 7th and Anne Kaczynski still in 8th. Jeff Billington now for Great Britain. With Virtual Village, that's their sponsors. Virtual Village, it's Otto, this 11-year-old Dutch bred by Salto. Clear first time. We're now into the clear rounds from the first trip. Jeff, who finished 3rd in the King George V Gold Cup at Hickstead in the south of England last summer, 3rd in the Heathring Grand Prix, 2nd in the Pavarotti International, and he won the Royal Windsor Grand Prix early in the season, but that didn't help at all. So this was the first clear from the first round. Normally this horse is a very extravagant jumper. Oh dear, they lost their ground there, and Jeff pushing on hard to get that oxer, but it's falling apart now. So often can happen in any sport. The old saying that it never rains but it pours is absolutely true, isn't it? And it gives truth to it. Very often you'll see this horse with so many rails on the floor. No matter how big the Grand Prix or the Olympic Games is, best placed for Britain, best placed horse and rider at the Olympic Games. So Jeff Billington coming back with 16 faults on his second trip, dropping them right down the leaderboard, but down this treble combination, as the Americans say. Poor old Jeff is working his butt off down here. They just haven't got the rhythm, haven't got a line. It was an extremely difficult line, in fact, that Linda set there. And look how much he was asking. Look how far away It's Otto went and tried to absolutely balloon it. But McLean Ward now, the 22-year-old American, now moves up to 5th place as we move to the 4th place after the first round. Leslie Burr-Howard for the USA with the 9-year-old thoroughbred Glen Echo. I say we're into the clear rounds now from the first round. And Leslie Burr-Howard from Westport, Connecticut, won the Rich du Maurier International at Spruce Meadows in Calgary in Western Canada, riding the Dutch-bred Blackfeet. Olympic Games team gold medalist in '84 in Los Angeles, and Olympic Games team silver medalist in Atlanta last summer. Dame Ward breathing down the neck of these leaders on the leaderboard, and again it's that treble combination, the run down to it and then keeping the rhythm, and certainly a forced distance, as it were, from the second to the third element. So McLean Ward's now moved up to 4th place for the USA. So we've only got 3 more to go now in this second round of this 3rd year of the Pulsar Crown Series. I'd say 3 straight wins in this series, and we're on a bonus of $2 million US, and what's that? That's 800,000-900,000 pounds. So Leslie Burr-Howard then with the 2 down on her second trip. And this, you can see the horse just seemed to be backing off it, in fact. Didn't go in there all that smoothly. And she with a 2 down with that total of 8. So McLean Ward then coming up to 4th place as we move now to the sharp end, as it were. The last 3. Jos Lansink for the Netherlands, riding Nissan, that's his sponsors, Nissan Calvaro Z, this 10-year-old Holsteiner stallion by Coletto Eins. So we're in the clear rounds now from the first round, where Jos won the Pulsar Crown, the first of the Pulsar Crown series in Luxembourg in '95 and '96. Wasn't able to complete his cycle, obviously. That was when the series used to start in Luxembourg. As I say, last year it started in Aachen in Germany. Next year it started in Valkenswaard. National champion of his country 6 times. And he won the Zangerscheid Classico here, riding Carthago Z. And Jos, who rides for Leon Melchior's powerful Zangerscheid stud in Belgium. Hence the livery there with the yellow fittings. And they're making this treble combination, playing with it. Oh, like a kid's toy in the garden. Power and technique of this horse. Watch him kick off the ground. That lovely tip and throw at the back end. And Jos, an absolute artist, placing just the last fence to go. Is this going to be our first double clear round? And it was indeed inside the time allowed of 72 seconds in the Pulsar Grand Prix, the third in this season's Pulsar Crown Series. A double clear round going to Jos Lonsink for the Netherlands and the 10-year-old Holsteiner stallion Nissan Calvaro Z. Just watch, look at that tuck, and there's the kick. Well, talk about giving fences air. They gave it half a house, didn't they? Oh, we've only got 2 more to go now. Bert Romp now for the Netherlands, 39 years old, and this is Berg's Mr. Blue. He seems to sometimes get a French name, sometimes an English name on the start list, but it is Berg's Mr. Blue. 9-year-old Dutch stallion by Couperis. And Bert, the second fastest clear round on the first trip. Third in the Falsterbo Grand Prix in Sweden with Samantha. Fourth in the Haschenberg Grand Prix. His fellow countryman Jos Lonsink and Calvaro Z with that double clear. And Romp is playing this one cautiously, addicted to this treble combination. And they're all right. You can see the horse just taking the extra step there, but so that puts, obviously, with his double clear round, just looking down at my notes now, Jos Lonsink with that double clear round up to the top of the leaderboard, but we've got 1 more to go. Last year's winner, Austria's Hugo Simon, and that moves young McLean Ward up a notch as well of the leaderboard, because crashing through the last fence there where they, as they say in the game, missed their jerk there. Bert Romp and Berg's Mr. Blue coming back with 8 on their, tried to get, in fact, to get an extra kick in the air, didn't they? There we are, 8 faults on their second trip. Double clear round from Jos Lonsink with Nissan Calvaro Z, and then McLean Ward with that 0 on his second trip, but the fastest 4-faulter. Last to go now of the top 15. 55 years young Hugo Simon with his 10-year-old Hanoverian ETFRH by Esprit, individual silver medalist at European Championships. Won this Grand Prix last year. Had a great tournament in Monterrey, winning the Radio Beat Trophy with Apricot D and the America Europe Challenge with the ET. How can he push Jos Lonsink to a jump-off? Ludger Beerbaum we've seen ranked #1 in the world. Now we have Hugo Simon on the PCM World Rankings. He's #2, and ETFRH is ranked #1 by the World Breeding Federation. Made nothing of that. Now for the run home. Our defending champions here at the Club Hípica La Sierra Monterrey in Mexico, Hugo Simon and ETFRH, the last fence to go. They made absolutely nothing of it. We're into a jump off. Jos Lonsink for the Netherlands with Nissan Calvaro Z, and Hugo Simon now for Austria, last year's winner with ETFRH, both on double clears. So they will go forward over a shortened course for a jump off against the clock for that winner's purse for $140,000 US. McLean Ward comes up to third, and that bonus of $25,000 US to start their Pulsar Crown Series. So we'll be back after the break this time with that jump off for you from Monterrey. So please stay with us. Efforts, time allowed 48 seconds in this jump off. Go over that time allowed. They pick up 1 time fault per second commence. And to kick it off, this head-to-head jump off for the Netherlands, Jos Lonsink, and this very powerful stallion, Nissan Calvaro Z. Jos has got to pull out something special to put the pressure on Hugo Simon and ET coming behind him. You can see him going up a gear as he goes across the arena there. $140,000 US, that's what, over £70,000 going to the winner. And that bonus of $25,000 US, and the start of the Pulsar Crown Series cycle of 3 shows. Oh, one may have come in just a little bit tight there. That's left the door wide open now for Hugo Simon. And you can't do that, Jos. give him, just leave the door slightly ajar, and Hugo Simon would go out to take advantage of the 4 faults then in 40.68 from Jos Lonsink and Nissan Calvado Z. And Jos had to take the chance. He went for a very short turn there and a lot of room to get into it. And, well, let's be honest, gave that front rail a fair old bang, in fact. So here he is now, the defending champion, 3 times Volvo World Cup champion. Hugo Simon and the Hanoverian ET FRH, whose mother, by the way, is just down the road at the Mexicana Ranch, Gracia. Recently gave birth to a full brother to ET, but let's watch him now against Jos Lonsink at 4 in 40.68. Hugo plays this one carefully. Mind you, he never does. It's always Hugo first. He once told me, in fact, it's Hugo first or Hugo last, never in the middle. But he got in a nice cut in there for a much straighter run at it than Lonsink. They didn't have to take the chance. Lonsink came as an angle to this one. Last one to go. Hugo Simon and ET FRH, last year's winner of this Pulsar Grand Prix in Monterrey. And there it is. Our picture tells the story. It's Hugo Simon again and the Hanoverian ET FRH. FRH standing for Friends of the Hanoverian Horse Society, a syndicate that buys young Hanoverian horses and then places them with the best talent. And where else is the best talent than in this little man? A clear round in 43.38 seconds. Hugo Simon wins the 140,000 US dollars. He wins the Pulsar Trophy. He also gets his 25,000 US dollar bonus on top of that. We'll come back to all this money later on, but it is fascinating, isn't it? And he now starts his Pulsar Crown cycle for the 2nd time. Hugo Simon then, and there's their money won, the 25,000 US dollars added in there. So what, that's over 80,000 pounds is won there. Lonsink, young McLean Ward, Alison Firestone, only 22, and Kaczynski then in 5th. Well, now we're going to go and join a very old friend and colleague of mine, Mario of Mexico TV, who was out in the paddock rather, talking to our great hero, Hugo Simon.
Hugo, just a few words. How are you? How you feel?
Yeah, I feel very happy, like the people that look this competition. And I think this is the right publicum for me. He is very enthusiastic and he likes to jump off, and I like this too. And I'm always happy when I can ride here in Monterrey. And Romo, I said thank you for everything what he do for the rider and for us. And I feel like a Mexicanish boy.
Well, we've mentioned Alfonso Roma before. You can see him there, but we're now going to go and join him.
Alfonso, this time Monterrey is in its 6th year, so we've seen it mature as an international tournament. But we're only, 2 years now from the new century. How do you see the sport in the new century?
I think our sport is going to face several challenges. The first, which is in my opinion the base, if you see around the world, we don't have enough good teachers. And teachers not in the sense of just riding well. You know, teachers that really makes understand the young people, not just to be a good rider, but to be a horseman or a horsewoman in this all sense of the word. Because what we don't want is that we use the horses. We need really to appreciate that they are animals and they are our partners in the competitions, and at the end of the day, they are the athletes. And we have to understand that. This is one of the challenges. The second, we have to evolve and we have to talk more with the breeders. Breeders that really bring the new technologies like we have in the economics or in the vegetable seeds or in the animals, really to bring the latest technology and to teach them that the world is evolutionated and they have to be more sophisticated in how to produce and why we need to produce better horses every day. Not just in the athlete way as a sport horses, but also in the total soundness of horse. It can be done genetically. We have a lot of technologies that we have to bring. Then this is around what I see the foundations. We have good breeding programs, and we have people that understand the horses in the whole sense, I think we will be much far than this century. The third, we have to attract the sponsors and the audiences. We have to evolve this sport as a very emotional one. We have to start like from scratch. If the Nations Cup is too long, because 2 rounds, because nobody's interested, because the world is becoming smaller, and then you have Germany, France, the United States, Holland, and the rest of the countries what? How can we going to evolutionate to really attract the sponsors and to make fair competition between different countries, like the Formula Ones?
Well, it was a bit of a windy morning there, as you can see, but Alfonso Roma giving us something to think about, and that's from a man of vision. There is no shadow of doubt about that. And Hugo Simon now comes in, led by the Outriders, with E.T. followed by Jos Lonsing to collect his Pulsar trophy and his check as well for $165,000. This is the situation now. Jan Tops, he's got third go, as I said earlier, and Valkenswaard is home ground next summer for $800,000. Hugo Simon then, $800,000 in Valkenswaard, could be $2 million in Aachen. There's Alfonso Romo with the trophy, along with Matteo Marzel and his wife Laura, and there with the red jacket just walking away is Mrs. Maca Romo. A tremendous team they have running the tournament in Monterrey, along with the coordinator that we've met many times on our programs, Everardo Garcia, and it's all backed by the global company Pulsar International that is based in Monterrey. That's their headquarters, and they also take the young students we've seen dancing around Europe. We'll be seeing more of them later, but now a tribute to Hugo Simon and to E.T. As always, the audience stands for the Austrian national anthem. Hugo Simon and E.T. winners for the second year running, and there is Everardo Garcia. Good to see him over there. Now, the new annual achievement awards run throughout the series of the Pulsar Crown this season. Ludger Beerbaum, the #1 rider in the world from Germany, wins that with 90 points. These points are based on their placings during one calendar season of the 3 Pulsar Crown or 3 tournaments rather, participating in the Pulsar Crown series. And that's the groom of E.T. there being congratulated by Mr. and Mrs. Alfonso Romo. That's Maca, his wife there in the red jacket, and they're looking very proud of the whole thing as well, aren't they? Alfonso, who put up such a tremendous performance, by the way, riding for the Mexican team in the Olympic Games last summer in Atlanta. Jos Lonsing, $100,000 to him. He went home with a lot more than that because he won a lot of other good classes as well. And Bet Cavaro Z for his second prize. The atmosphere in the Club Pico La Sierra in the El Diente Valley just outside Monterrey, absolutely fantastic. Wonderful tournament. So who's to say now what's going to happen? There's McLean Ward, by the way, just got a glimpse of him there, the young American going forward for his third prize. Well, now as Hugo Simon goes off on his victory parade, let me tell you that on Friday, the 21st of November, we'll be back at 1800 hours, that's UK, Irish and Portuguese time, when we have the Berlin Championships for you live. So do join us on that one. Then we'll have our usual Tuesday slot. We'll have the Volvo World Cup qualifiers. But on Thursday, December December the 18th, we start 5 days live coverage from the great international Christmas show at Olympia in London. So do try and join us. Well, don't try and join us. Make sure you join us there. It'll be great fun. So Hugo Simon and E.T., the crowd standing up and giving them a standing ovation. Winners of the 1997 Pulsar Grand Prix, the first in their Pulsar series now. Who's to say that they may not win that $800,000? There goes the hat to the crowd. Who's to say they may not win that $800,000 US in Valkenswaard next summer, or that magic $2 million US in Aachen in Germany last summer? So Hugo Simon, followed by Jos Lonsink and McLean Ward. I say the crowd standing and giving them a tremendous reception and ovation. We'll be back on Friday with that live coverage from Berlin. From me, Peter Churchill, bless you for your company, and bye-bye.
Adiós, amigos. Hasta el próximo año.
Desde el cerro de la silla se divisa el panorama cuando empieza